Today we are going to start our unit number 21 of AFM. Chapter name is Calculation of Interest and Annuity. So this chapter, from this chapter you will get numerical question also. So please make sure that you have a calculator, pen, paper with you, right? So that you can calculate along with side the lecture. Because if you don't calculate by just cramming the formula, it will not help you. You must know that which parameter to be put where, how to use the formula, right? When to take the power, every aspect you must know. So let's get started with the first question that we have. So you know that today we keep banking simple. How bank take deposit, how they lend money, how interest and EMI work. So a bank accept deposit from customer and pay them interest for keeping their money. The bank then lends some of that money to other customer and charges interest. This is very basic thing, we know it very well, right? So this is the bank. It is accepting what deposit, right? And using that deposit, it is paying the interest, okay, for keeping their money. And the bank then lends some of that money to other customer. So they also lend money to other customer, right? And the charges interest. So interest can be paid or charges regularly. You can see interest can be paid at periodic interval. So when I say periodic interval, which means it can be monthly. So interest can be paid at periodic interval, let's say monthly, right? Or once at the end of the loan. It depends on the agreement, right? So that depends on the terms of the agreement that decided, right? So one more thing is that the bank can lend some of that money to other customer and charges interest. Interest can be paid or charges regularly or once at the end of loan. That depends on the agreement. Sometimes a borrower pay part of the principal along with the interest, right? So sometimes a borrower pay part of the principal along with the interest. So EMI is one type of annuity. What is EMI? Equated monthly installment. It is a type of annuity. Annuity means, when I say annuity, it is a fixed payment you make at the set frequency, usually monthly. So it is a series of fixed payment which is made at a fixed frequency, and frequency is generally monthly, right? For a fixed time. So fixed payment, fixed frequency, fixed time. That is the point, right? Whether payment are made at the start of the year or at the end of each period changes the math. So timing always matter. So the basic point is that timing always matter. So what we talk about EMI is a type of annuity. It is a fixed payment you make at set frequency, usually monthly, for a fixed time. Whether payment are made at the start or at the end of this period changes the math. So that's why I say timing always matter. Bank often calculate the present value of the future payment. That means discounting. They discount future money back to today. Check if loan is worth it. So you will see a word so-called discounting. What is the meaning of discounting? Suppose some kind of future payment is there. So they bring it to the present value to decide if the loan is worth it or not. And finally, there is something called simple interest. So simple interest is the easiest case, right? What is the formula we use to calculate the simple interest? Very simple. Here you can see interest is equal to principal into R into time. That's it, right? So let me give you one example. Let's say that we have an interest of 10,000 rupees at the rate 5% for, let's suppose, 2 years, right? So what would be the interest? 10,000 multiplied by 0.05 multiplied by 2. So this would give me 1,000 rupees, right? So this 1,000 is all simple building block, right? So you can think of lending money like renting a bike. You lend your bike, that is principal, to someone for a time. They pay you rent. Rent is a kind of interest. If they pay you every week versus paying once they return the bike, it changes how much you earn and how certain you are to get paid. So EMI are like fixed weekly bike rental plan that the renter follow for the set number of weeks. So what we have discussed in this particular slide, let me summarize. So I told you bank accept deposit and they give the loan. That's the basic funda. Depositor earn interest and the borrower pay the interest. Interest timing can be either periodic or at the end of the loan. EMI means fixed interest payment annuity. Payment time, whether it is a start or end, right, changes the calculation. Payment value means the value of value today of the future payment, that is discounting. And simple interest formula is simple, P into R into T upon 100. Now let me ask you a question to check your understanding. Suppose I say that you receive 1000 rupees now, or I say you receive 1000 rupees, right, 1 year later. So tell me, which is worth money to you today? 1000 rupees now or 1000 rupees 1 year later? What do you think? Yes, obviously 1000 rupees now, because money today can be invested and earn interest. So now we will solve two simple interest example crystal clear. First one is a case of a student who buys a computer for 60,000 rupees. Computer cost him 60,000 rupees and he has taken the interest rate on the loan is 12% per annum, right? And he has taken the loan for 2 years. So to get the interest, what we use? We use the shortest formula, I into is equal to P into R into T. So in this case, if you substitute the value, what is the principal? 60,000. What is the rate of interest? It is, I think, 12%. And what is the time period? This is 2 years. So if we calculate it, this would give us 14,400. Right. That means the student pay 14,400 as the interest over the 2 year. Add that to the original price. So if you take 60,000 and you add 14,400, we will get 74,400. That is the total repayment. Right. So this is the first case. Second case, we have the case of Mohan. Right. So now in this case, you can see Mohan invested 5,000 in fixed deposit at the rate of 9.8% per year for 2 years. Right. For 2 years. And we have to compute the interest earned. How much interest he earned? Simple. Principal is 5,000. How much is the interest? 9.8% multiplied by 2 years. So this would give us 980. So Mohan earned 980 rupees as interest in 2 years. Right. So the key idea is that simple interest is always worked on the original amount only. Right. So two formula that you must keep in the mind, which will always help you to compute the simple interest. And you know it very well. So first formula is this one, and the second formula is amount is equal to P plus I. Right? Please remember it. That is a straightforward math, no compounding. Now let's do one more case study of the Jahangir. Right. So Jahangir put 50,000 rupees in a 180-day deposit at 5.3% per year. We find how much interest he earned for those 180 days and then add it to the 50,000. Now take the case of Jahangir. Right. He put rupees 50,000. How much he put? He put rupees 50,000 in 180 days. In 180 days, deposit at 5.3% per year. We find how much interest is earned for those 180 days and then add it to the 50,000. It is very simple. Right. I hope we have done it already. Second case is a student buy a computer for rupees 60,000. You can see an interest rate is 12% per year for 2 years. We will find the interest and the total repayment. Right. So how to go about doing it? Let's see. Take the first case. This one, 50,000 wala. Yes. So what will be the annual interest? What will be the annual interest? This will be nothing but 50,000 multiplied by 0.053. That would give us 2650 rupees. That is the annual interest. Now, how much time is in a year? There are 365 days. Now, what is the time in year? 180 days. Right. So 180 days, if we convert into a year term, so how much that will be? T in terms of year. So 180 divided by 360. Just take 360. That would be 1 upon 2. That would be the total interest will be how much? So after multiplication, right? So just multiply this 2650 multiplied by 180 upon 360. So it is half of that. Half of that is how much? So half of I think it is 1325. 1325, yes. So that is the interest. So what is the total amount? So A is equal to P plus I. Principal is how much? 50,000. So 50,000 plus 1325. That will give you 51325. Now friends, let's take the case of computer loan. You can see the cost of computer is 60,000. Rate of interest is 12%. Loan is backed after 2 years. We need to calculate interest to be paid. Very simple. Take 60,000 multiplied by 0.12 multiplied by 2 because time is 2 years. This will give you 7,200. So this is yearly interest. So what is the interest for 2 years? I think it is 14,400. So what would be the repayment would be? So repayment would be P plus I. Principal that we have to pay. So that would be how much you know? That would be 74,400. 60,000 plus 14,400. So remember the formula I is equal to P into R into T. A is equal to P plus I. Two scenario we have discussed just now. Now let's switch our focus to the compound interest. So let's demystify this compound interest. Compound interest means you earn interest on the interest you already earned. So interest you have already earned and you earn interest upon that. So your money grow faster over the time compared with the simple interest. And the basic formula is simple, right? What is the formula? A is equal to P times 1 plus R whole to the power n. That is the formula, where P is the starting money. P is called principal, or you may call it starting money, right? R is the yearly rate. So R is the yearly rate as a decimal, and N is the year. Small n is the year. If interest is added more often, say twice a year or monthly, the formula become A is equal to P times 1 plus R upon M to the power n times M. So this is the formula that we will use, where P is the starting money, R is the yearly rate, right? N is the year. If interest is added more often, say twice a year or monthly, then we have to use this formula. Let me again write down the formula clearly. A is equal to P under bracket 1 plus r upon m to the power n times m. N is the number of m. So what is the m here? What is the meaning of m? Please understand. This formula is super important. M stands for how many times per year interest is compounded. That means compounding frequency per year. How many times interest is compounded per year? Right. Let me give you a quick example to understand this concept. So let's suppose that 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees at the rate 10% compounded yearly for 2 years. So how much it will become? So 10,000 multiplied by 1 plus r. R is 0.1 to the power 2. So that is 10,000 multiplied by 1.1 ka square, which is 1.11, which is give 1.21 to be more precise. It will give you 12,100. Because after year 1, it become 11,000. And year 2 interest is charged on the 11,000. Right. That is the compound interest in one TD sentence. That interest earn interest. So the core idea is that with compound interest, each time interest is paid, it becomes part of the principal for the next period. So future interest is calculated on a larger amount.